Yeah. So just to jump in on that, I think that that's such a great example of what's possible when employees across a business are really able to contribute to decision making, shed light on kind of like what their work experience is, and create efficiencies where otherwise, it would go overlooked. I think the way that I like to think about it from an employee ownership standpoint is, if I am a worker who's making $17 an hour and I'm living paycheck to paycheck, lots of times my focus, what's important to me isn't necessarily going to be aligned with the business just inherently. I'm really thinking about how do I clock in and clock out and do my work and collect my paycheck and do my work to the extent that my supervisor is not breathing down my neck. And I might, particularly around like the holiday season, look forward to the potential of overtime pay because that week groceries are going to be less expensive or easier to afford. Might be able to afford some extra gifts during Christmas time. Whereas for the business, efficiency and productivity is really number one. And so in the absence of efficiency and productivity, I may think about needing to increase managerial oversight. My costs are going to go up, and I'm thinking workers aren't really doing their job, and that's not the case. But if I'm able to support the worker who's making $17 an hour to understand from a day to day how their individual tasks contribute to the company's success overall, and just as an added benefit, show how that increased productivity will benefit them financially, that worker really becomes fully invested and begins to, I think, make some of the observations that Larry identified and say, these are some of the critical challenges that I'm seeing on the job every single day. My manager probably doesn't see it, but this is something that will really improve our entire performance. So I think that's a great example. Bigger picture, when we're thinking about employee ownership and what it looks like to, and create a democratic workplace, we think about it as building the foundation of a house. And so there are four corner posts that are needed when you build a house. You need a strong foundation, right? And those corner posts for us are sharing money, sharing information, sharing power, and developing people. Each of these elements requires commitment to positioning workers to contribute to decision making, but also to think about how do we help them build the skills so that they understand what's going on within the business. So that's where you see that overlap in terms of sharing the information in an effective way, sharing power. That's an opportunity to give. That's an opportunity to have my voice contribute to outcomes, and then developing the skills within people. From a like the business's standpoint, you got to think about, and this goes to, I guess, your question, Leba, about how do you measure it and how do you approach it. Number one is that it takes time, right? You're not going to, I think, change the culture overnight. Lots of workers have no idea how to read a financial statement, so you've got to help them build those skills, understand how to read it, create language where folks really can sort of connect with it. And there are, I think, a couple of examples of how to do this well. I think open book management is a really common practice to begin to share financial information with workers to train them and bring them along the pathway from that helps them connect the dots between their individual tasks and the business outcomes. Doing things like creating critical numbers for departments. These are basically, KPIs, but very, very specific within each person's role so that they understand, okay, that's the mark that I've got to hit together, and we're going to be able to see the benchmarks that we all want to achieve.